Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first time this season in 2024, my Scoops 2024 AFLW Draft Power Rankings. Now, how this video will work, I've split it up into three categories. So what I have done here is for this year's upcoming draft crop, what I've done is I've given the best players from three particular states in Victoria, WA, and South Australia, the best draft crop from those states. Then I have my power rankings from number 1 all the way to 26, and some players that are playing in the state leagues at the moment who shall be in contention come end of the year, or even potentially as train-ons right now at AFLW clubs, or being an injury replacement player potentially. So here's some names I'll be going through. So there are three categories we're going to go through today. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Please smash the like button as well. Want to have 20 likes on this video. So let's get right into the thick of things. Okay. So we'll start off with the players I feel my power rankings from number 1 all the way till 26. So at pick 1 in my draft, let's start that again. My Scoops 2024 AFLW power rankings, draft power rankings, pick 1 from the Gippsland Power, Ash Centra. Ash is a clear-cut option for me and for many people at pick 1, dominating for the Gippsland Power, the Vic side, the state championship side of the AFLW Academy. She didn't play from the previous AFLW Academy match with a minor injury issue, but she'll be all good for the upcoming season. Played recently for Gippsland Power again in the Coach League. It's a clear-cut choice for me. Ash is a terrific ball user, smart decision maker, leadership as well, and she's a very smart player, and she's miles apart from everyone else, I feel, in this year's draft crop. At pick 1, so it was an obvious choice for me. Like Loz Young, who was touted as pick 1 for a very long time, Ash Centra has been for the last few years as well for that pick 1 position, which belongs to Ash Centra. At pick 2, I have gone Zippy Fish. Zippy Fish is a name that's been heard about for a while as well. She's not just named Zippy, she's Zippy on the field as well. She's quick, she's a good kick. She played in the AFLW Academy game most recently in Moorabbin. Starred in that contest and playing for the Waffle W's in the Waffle W competition as well for East Freo. She's dominating at the moment, and they'll be heading into a final series this week, in fact. And she's been terrific for them, been terrific with WA. She will be the best player out of WA's draft crop this year. And she's a well-known participant at pick number 2 in my power rankings. Again, this is as of right now. Things could change when the state championships are on very shortly. And then obviously this could change things. Place could rise up the board. So I'm basing this off, where I think they'll go, how their form has been in their state league competitions or in the championships or in the Coach League, and gone from there. So at pick 3, I've gone another WA talent in Molly O'Hare, playing South Freo. Molly's been a great contributor for them this year. Played well in the AFLW Academy game again at Moorabbin. A midfield that can play through the forward line as well, some kicks, some goals, a high accumulator of the ball, smart decision maker, and another clear-cut option for me at pick 3. At pick 4, I've gone Lucia Painter from Victoria. She's a good ball user. She also played in that AFLW Academy game as one of the best players on the ground in that game. Can mainly play through the midfield, can push up forward if need be, and Lucia Painter will be a good option as well. At pick 5 now, a lot of people will probably call this the bolter of the AFLW draft power rankings. For myself, is Lily Patterson from the Swan Districts and the Waffle W Football Club. Lily has been a bolter for so many reasons. Getting the most disposal so far in the Waffle W competition. She's got some of the best experienced players you could think of in that competition. And being in her draft year at 18 years of age right now, Lily has been terrific. High up on the disposal sheet. Not just that though. She's a tackler. She can run. She's a good field kick. She seems to be leading the side at 18 years of age for the Swan Districts, who's got them into the final series this week as well. So Lily might be a draft bolter, but one to keep an eye on when the state championships come around, because she obviously play for WA like Molly and Zippy will, and she will be the bolter of this year's draft crop. Mark my words. You heard it here first. Lily Patterson, a draft bolter for this year's up-and-coming AFLW draft. And yeah, she's been terrific for them. You know, smart ball user, as I said, elite kick, can run all day, can tackle as well. So she's got everything that you want in a footballer. There's Lily. She can tackle, she can run, she can kick, she can mark overhead really well as well, and pop up for some goals here and there as well. So that's pick 5, Lily Patterson. Pick 6, I have Sarah Howley from the Geelong Falcons, a midfielder that just runs and runs all day. She accumulates the ball. She's a smart ball user as well. She did play also in the academy game. But yeah, she will be the top draft pick from the Geelong Falcons this year quite easily. And should be one to feature in that top 5 conversation as well. So that pick 6 in mine. Pick 7, I've got Sophie McKay from the Sandringham Dragons. Can play it up in the midfield, play it forward. Carlton father-daughter selection she'll be for Carlton's AFLW side would be a great addition. She can join her sister Abby McKay in the Blues AFLW side for the next season. Obviously, this season starts in the men's season of the pre-finals bye. But for the following year, Sophie McKay can join her sister Abby at Carlton. Their dad Andrew as well. Obviously played at Carlton for so many games, and on her own, she's a fantastic player, a good kick. She's a leader as well, and she's just Carlton are going to get a really good player here. Obviously, the rules might change by then about the bidding system and everything like that. But yeah, she'll become a blue, Sophie McKay, and she'll be a great addition to that side when she does. But as of right now, I mean, her form stacks up and warrants her selection regardless in the top 10, potentially top 5 as well. So yeah, she goes in the state champions for Vic. But yeah, a well-earned position in my spot at pick 7, Sophie McKay. Pick 8, I've gone the Gold Coast Suns utility and academy player Havana Harris, who some people have linked to around the top pick. Could be in that conversation as well through the Gold Coast Academy. So the Gold Coast can get a fantastic player here. She can play up forward, and pinch in the ruck, play down back. I see her future footy up in the forward line and in the ruck, but she'll be a great addition to the Gold Coast Suns when that time comes around. At pick 9, I've gone Millie Lang from the Rebels, Greater Western Victoria Rebels in the Coates League. Millie's plays mainly as a key defender, but has shown recently on the weekend or the week prior to pop up for a few goals and had 26 odd disposals in a Coates League game, like 7 marks, a complete game. And just the versatility these days is really, really important. And I think Millie Lang would be a great servant for a club who wants a key position defender who can be leadership as well. And obviously pop up for a few goals. And she did also feature in my Swoops Goal King Challenge with Brooke Ward from the Rebels recently, a few months ago. A nice check side on the boundary line, if you don't mind. So that's Millie Lang I have at pick 9. At pick 10 from South Australia, I've got India Rashid. Obviously linked father-daughter as well. South Australia. Yeah, it will be a good player for, highly touted India Rashid. Just goes about a business, can run and can kick, and will be one of South Australia's top draft picks as well. Speaking of South Australia, we go to pick 11, which is another South Australian, is Georgia McKee, a small forward who played in the AFLW Academy game, kicked a goal, I think, and then she popped up, for a few more chances, and she was a lively small forward in that game for a team that struggled. I think she really did well for them. Sorry, they didn't struggle, they won, but she was really good and influenced the game, and and that's all it could take, to stand out in this AFLW Academy game versus the All-Stars, and she delivered really well for the Australian team, and she did really well, and she has herself in the conversation for the top 10 as well. Pick 12, I have Sienna Salatiri from Victoria, midfielder that can use the ball, can accumulate, and do very well for a side. So I have at pick 12, Sienna Talariti. At pick 13, I got Sierra Greaves from Werribee, a good user, Western Jets rather, a good ball user. Was one of the best on the ground. I'm pretty sure she did get best on ground too in the AFLW Academy. Had AFLW Academy game. Credit to her for doing that. And again, like I said, this is all it could take. One huge game with all the spotlights on everyone in this year's draft crop, and no better than getting a best on ground performance from Sienna Greaves, a midfielder from the Western Jets. A Jet performance there. At pick 14, I've got Emma McDonald from Oakley Chargers in the Coates League for Victoria. Key position forward. I haven't really mentioned any key forwards yet. So, key forwards, there's not always a million of them. There's always a million of midfielders and not many key position players at either end of the ground. Emma McDonald has shown some good form as well. And one thing I want to add, if I don't mention it later, is that, a lot of these girls are playing in the VFLW competitions at the moment, or in the Waffle W or Sandford W, and getting that exposure to play at that level against some more mature age players is really important for their development. And when I've spoke to a few of them on the podcast, how important that is for them, to play at 18 years of age, some 19, competing against some mature age players that have played in those competitions for a very long time, and to match up on them, and just to see how they play and know that next level of expectations they need, or ex-AFLW players that are playing in those state leagues right now, to go, okay, this is what it took them to get there. That's now I know that's what I've got to do to get there. But yeah, and Emma McDonald, a key forward, has said will be a good option there. Now, pick 15, I've got a key position play again from South Australia, Charlotte Riggs, who mainly plays in the back line from South Australia. I think needs to get talked about a little bit more. I've spoken to some people in this field as well. They see a lot of potential in Charlotte Riggs, and someone to keep an eye out on for this upcoming draft period. At pick 16 from WA, I've gone Claudia Wright, a person in demand for a whole range of reasons in terms of clubs are showing interest. Can play in a few positions, mainly in the midfield and up forward. But yeah, the talent is shown in the Waffle W competition for Claudia Wright. It'd be one to watch this year. At pick 17, I've gone Grace Barber from Victoria. She can run. She's athletic. She can kick well. And, versatility, and I talk about how important that is. She can play a few positions. And, clubs love elite ball use, and Grace Barber can provide that for a side that selects her in this upcoming draft period. And one thing I also want to mention too about, the state-based drafts and the national, obviously, if you don't nominate national, if you nominate your state, obviously that means the clubs outside of your state can't pick you. And that's why you see players go in different positions. Piper Window was a prime example. I think she went pick 17 in last year's draft, where she was easily a top 3 pick for me. But because she nominated SA, she'd obviously only go when Adelaide and Port had their picks. So that's why you see some players like that. This is why I've done a power rankings, because this is where I kind of rank them outside of their state-based thing and just go best for the best. At pick number 18, I've got Emma Stark from the Oakley Chargers. Obviously played in the NT as well. She's an AFLW umpire who I've had on the podcast as well, playing on the wing for the Oakley Chargers and doing really well, pushing up forward for the NT in the Coach League as well, playing for both sides, depending on what round it is, I guess, and doing really well for herself. Obviously, when I had her on, she said about, wanting to pursue this career. You're doing really well at it, and, yeah, hopefully she can get a chance. And quite frankly, her form stacks up and warrants a spot as well. And she's a decent shot at goal, too, as you've seen in the Goal King Challenge we did from the pocket, if you don't mind. So that is Emma Stark at my pick 18. At pick 19, a bit of a bolter as well, as Georgie Brisbane from the Eastern Rangers. She's mainly plays up forward. She played for Essendon VFLW, played a game when a few of the Rangers girls played in that game, along with Stacia Stevenson. And Emma Stilver's a name to keep an eye out from the Eastern Rangers as well. Georgie Armsley had on the podcast as well. You go, leadership qualities written all over her. A good key forward, a good mark, good shot at goal. And that Windy Hill, that goal she kicked, her debut VFLW goal, was terrific, and showed what she's got as a forward. And, again, all it takes is one game sometimes to dominate on a state league level, or in a championship level, or all those key games where the recruiters are there, or having consistent seasons in the club you're playing for in the Coach League or Waffle W, Sanford W, etc., or in the state championships. And that's all it could take. And this is what a message for everyone. Just that's all it takes. You're having a bad form. Hey, you're in the state championships. One big game, or you're playing that grand final, or you're playing that AFLW Academy game, and you boom, you dominate like Sierra Greaves did. She was being pretty good anyway. But if it was for someone that played in that hadn't had the most amazing of form, and you get best on ground, hey, everyone's on your eyes. Everyone's eyes are on you, and you just never know what could happen. So keep at it. That's some advice we give for people that having some thoughts and trying to get up motivation and stuff like that. At pick 20. Now, this is the first 19-year-old I have in this year's power rankings, and it's Jamie Henry from the Western Bulldogs VFW side. Obviously, Jamie played for the Swan Districts last year for the Waffle W Football Club. Obviously, was touted as a top 30 pick in last year's draft, and for whatever reason, unfortunately, didn't get picked up. Jamie's gone and, made the trip over from WA to come to Victoria and play for the Western Bulldogs VFW side, and mainly played as a midfielder for most of the games, played some games as a key position defender and done well at that, and now is playing, most her position that she's the best good at, I feel, and that's in the midfield, and she's dominated on the weekend the last few weeks, in particular playing through the midfield. And there was a game against Collingwood VFW that comes to mind, where Jamie just dominated, like 15 disposals, had like 7, 8, 9 tackles, like 5 marks, hit the goal in that game, and most recently having similar numbers in the last few weeks. So Jamie Henry is the bolter, who was touted around this pick this time last year, who I have in this conversation again for this year. So that pick 20, I have Jamie Henry. Pick 21 from WA, I have Claudia Wright, and WA talent. As I mentioned earlier, I've written her in twice. Oops. Oh, dear. I've written Claudia Wright in twice. So actually, now this is going to bump up everyone a spot, isn't it? All right, so I've made those adjustments to the team that I had. So Jamie Henry is still at number 20. Then at pick 21, we have Sarah Palsty from the Oakley Chargers, a midfielder who had a decent performance too in the AFLW Academy game. It was one of the major the leading disposal getters on the ground. Again, like I said, it's what it takes. It's been a consistent midfielder for Oakley in the Coates League, and a name to keep an eye out for as well. At pick 22, I have Poppy Schultz from South Australia, the sister of Matilda Schultz, who is the Port Adelaide AFLW young star ruckman. Poppy plays on the other side of the ground in the back line. Will be a top draft pick for South Australia this year, a name to keep an eye out on. At pick 23, I have Ash Patton, who's part of the Giants Academy. He's been played for SA at times from the Giants Academy. So obviously eligible to go to the Giants, depending on where the bids come and everything like that. But Ash Patton can play a few positions, and Ash is one to keep an eye on as well. The first player I have here from Tasmania at pick 24 is Mackenzie Williams, a taller player, a midfielder that can play up forward as well, a name to keep an eye out on for sure. And at pick 25, in the last part of the power rankings, is Violet Patterson from South Australia, a tall player, a name to keep an eye out on for the future, and played in the AFLW Academy game recently on the weekend, or 2 weekends ago. So I'm going to put the list of the names up here now for you all. So let me get that banner off for just a second. So to recap there, as you can see the names on the screen. Pick 1, Ash Centra. Pick 2, Zippy Fish. Pick 3, Molly O'Hare. Pick 4, Lucia Painter. Pick 5, Lily Patterson. Pick 6, Sarah Howley. Pick 7, Sophie McKay. Pick 8, Havana Harris. Pick 9, Millie Lang. Pick 9, Millie Lang. Pick 10, India Rashid. Pick 11, Georgia McKee. Pick 12, Sienna Talaridi. Pick 13, Sierra Greaves. Pick 14, Emma McDonald. Pick 15, Charlotte Riggs. Pick 16, Claudia Wright. Pick 17, Grace Barber. Pick 18, Emma Stark. Pick 19, Georgie Brisbane. Pick 20, Jamie Henry. Pick 21, Sarah Palsty. Pick 22, Poppy Schultz. Pick 23, Ash Patton. Pick 24, Mackenzie Williams. And pick 25, Violet Patterson. Let me know your thoughts on my Scoops 2024 AFLW draft power rankings. So, let me know your thoughts down below on that. Now, let's move on to the next part of the show, and that is where I have the top draft picks for each state. So for WA, for example, Victoria and South Australia, the major 3 states that I'm going to talk about in this video. So WA's top draft picks are Zippy Fish, Molly O'Hare, Lily Patterson, and Claudia Wright. As I said, Zippy, Molly, Lily in particular have been killing it for their respective Waffle W clubs. Lily will play in the state championships, as will Molly and Zippy, and Claudia Wright too is another name to be on there. WA's top draft options for Victoria: Ash Centra, Sophie McKay, Lucia Painter, Sarah Palsty, and Sierra Greaves. For South Australia, Poppy Schultz, India Rashid, Georgia McKee, and Violet Patterson. and Charlotte Riggs as well. So there's some names to get on. Let's get that banner up now for you all here, so you can have a look at the screen there. So there you go. As I said, there you go. They're the names. But basically, they're my top 4 selections for each of those 3 states, headlined by Zippy Fish, Molly O'Hare, Lily Patterson, Claudia Wright for WA, and for Victoria, Ash Centra, Sophie McKay, Lucia Painter, Sarah Pousty, Sierra Greaves for Victoria. And for South Australia, India Rashid, Georgia McKee, Violet Patterson, and Charlotte Riggs, and obviously Poppy Schultz in contention as well. All right, now some names I just want to mention before we wrap things up is this, that, there's a lot of players, playing in the state leagues at the moment that, I feel like don't get enough respect and get their names talked about as much. So watching a lot of state league women's footy in VFLW, Waffle W, and Sample W, there's some names here I have written down that I want to talk about for a little bit here. So there's some names. One name that comes to mind from WA, and it's the one name, or a few names I got written down here, but Jamie Harkin, she's a mature age player, 27 years of age, I think that's on my head, plays for Claremont, wins the league best and fairest there. She was a train-on at one point for West Coast a couple of years back. Probably one of, if not the best player in the Waffle W competition. Should be up there in the best and fairest with Lily Patterson come the end of the year, and Zippy Fish. Jamie, I feel like a midfielder that just accumulates the ball. She's second for the most disposals in the league. A great ball user, leadership qualities. Can bring an mature, experienced player into an FLW club that needs experience, and she would fit in like a glove. So Jamie Harkin is a name to keep an eye on for when it comes to train-ons and list spots if they come available, or train-ons, as I said. A few other names. Poppy Stockwell from South Fremantle in the WA competition. She's 21 years of age, a taller player. She was kicked 20 goals in the Waffle W competition. I think she was third off the top of my head in that. Had a terrific year for South Fremantle. And obviously, 21 years of age, it doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're 18 or 29, you can still get drafted. Elise Sheeran is a prime example. She was 29 a couple of years ago. She's 31 now, back-to-back All-Australians, and she's played every game pretty much for the Tigers AFLW side. So it just shows to keep at it. Just because you don't get it in your draft doesn't mean you can't ever get it. Elise Sheeran is a prime example. She got drafted at 29 years of age and now 31 in a back-to-back All-Australian. So that's what I say. That's all it takes, and never give up on your dreams. A good quote from John Cena: "Never give up," and it's true. Never give up. Another name, so that's Poppy Stockwell from South Fremantle. Another name in the Waffle W competition from Subiaco is Eva Bukowski. Obviously, kicks goals. She's only 20 years old as well. So, again, like I said, you don't have to be 18. She dominated the Waffle W competition for Subi this year. A name that could come into draft calculations as well, a train-on, etc. Eva Bukowski is a name to look out for. So that's from the Waffle W side of things. Just one name I've written down here from the Sandford W, and it's a player in her draft year who played for the AFLW Academy side a couple of weeks ago, is Grace Martin from the Woodville West Torrens, a midfielder that can play through a few positions, half back, half forward, and had a good, if you saw my highlights on my Instagram page, she had a great kick and mark in the highlights reel. It just shows what a good kick she is, a great mark. It can play up in the dual position as well. Obviously, with that strong side, players sometimes playing in a position they may not be in their best spot, but just shows the versatility in a lot of players, and in this case, Grace Martin. So that's a name to keep an eye out for this year's draft crop. Now, from the VFLW side of things, to wrap things up, some names. There's plenty of names I could mention, but I haven't got 7 hours to start going through every name on the list. So, because I've watched a lot of the Bulldogs VFLW games, there's some names here I've got, and one in particular from North Melbourne's VFLW side, which I'll start with, and that's the Jock from North Melbourne. She is a goal kicker. She's up there in the league's VFLW Coleman medal race. If she kicks 5 or 6 on the weekend, she might win it. But regardless, she had a terrific year. Someone that's looking for that, that train-on position. She's young as well, but she brings skill, she brings pace and X factor is the jock from the North Melbourne VFW side, someone to keep an eye out on for sure. Now, some names to wrap things up from the Western Bulldogs VFW side. I mentioned earlier Jamie Henry, obviously made the trip over from WA, now playing for the Bulldogs VFW side and killing it as a midfielder and even played as key defender for a handful of games. Again, versatility is very important. She's got a booming left foot kick on her. A name that, as I said earlier, needs to be recognised. I was surprised she didn't get a gig last year as an AFLW player, and she's doing everything she can at the moment, and she's doing really well for the Bulldogs side. And obviously, they're heading into finals, and a lot of these names, final series again. You're talking about big games and big moments. Final series for Jamie Henry could get it right back into draft calculations of the club, and that goes for anyone in that conversation as well. So Jamie Henry's one I got here. Another one is Marley McLeod. From the Western Bulldogs. Again, these are all Western Bulldogs players from now on. So, a small forward, just kicks goals, tackles, runs, pressures, and decent kick on her. And yeah, Marley McLeod is one to keep an eye out on. Maybe he's a train on at one point at either the Bulldogs or wherever. And, good form, good training could get you in. And she's having a good season. I think she's kicked 13 goals this year. So that's one to keep an eye out for, Marley McLeod. Another one is London Ashcroft. A booming left foot kick, a right foot kick, a booming right foot kick. Knowing London, she probably could do that as well. Her had on for the Golden Challenge. She played with the Bulldogs VFW side, 19 years of age, came from the Swans AFLW Academy. Again, like Jamie, went on the other side of the world, went from one state to the next. And in the game she's played when she wasn't injured, she was doing really well for them. And then, the game one of the most recent games I was at, she had kicked a good goal, great run off the wing, can run all day, booming left foot kick. And there's not many players that I've watched at state league level that can kick as far as London Ashcroft can do. And she's really done well. So if she can, back it up in the final series in the last home and away game this week and all going to plan, it could be a name that you could have seized a train on at one club. Maybe it's an injury replacement player. A name to keep an eye out for. London Ashcroft, when she sent it all the way to London, that goal in my Golden Challenge from outside 50, that was fantastic from London Ashcroft all the way to London. We got Jamie Tabb, a forward, more of an experienced player. I believe will probably be a trainer on the Bulldogs, I would assume. And she's doing really well as a forward, can play through the midfield as well and done really well. And, hey, we're talking about experienced players forward with Jamie Harkin. Jamie Tabb could be someone. There's a lot of Jamies I'm mentioning today. But yeah, Jamie Tabb could be one that does really well if she's given the opportunity to do so, and definitely is really good for VFLW level. Two more to wrap things up is Keely Hardingham, the Western Bulldogs VFLW ruckman, who's probably for me been the standout ruckman in the VFLW competition this year. And again, like I said, clubs look for tall players. They don't grow on trees, as they say. And Keely could be one that could come into conversation as well for ruckman. That clubs that are searching for ruckman, Keely Hardingham could be one that to keep an eye on. For maybe even the Bulldogs at their own club in the AFLW side of things may look at someone like Keely to join their club as a replacement player or in future years. And the final one, a former Saint who's played and applied her trade at the Western Bulldogs VFW side this year is Renee Saltis. Kicked about 13, 15 goals this year, maybe 16 actually, in the 10 or so games she's played. Former Saints, so, one of those girls that has been at that AFLW level exposure and played games for the Saints and play up forward and some good shots on the weekend. So she could put herself into calculations as a train on as well, or is an injury replacement player. So they're the names I've got for you all today. I'm sure there's many names that I've missed, and I apologize if I have missed some, but here is that list that I just spoke to you about just then. So you can have a look for yourself on the screen. Oh, and of course, how could I forget a few more? Saved by the notes here. Abby Martin from the Swans AFLW side. She's been terrific and definitely a name to keep an eye out for. Abby was playing for the Swans VFW side when they made their inaugural VFW debut in the competition as a key defender, a tall defender. She was on some experienced Western Bulldogs VFW players, and she did really well for herself. And when I watched that game, they had all the AFLW girls for the Swans playing, like literally all of them. There was only three: Gordon, Imogen Brown, and Abby Martin. All three were terrific and stood out with those AFLW players playing all for the Swans. So Abby Martin in particular, she was very, very good. And she rose to the occasion playing for the East Coast Eagles in the Sydney leagues and for footy and doing really well there. It's a leader, doing really well. And, key position players, as I said, they don't grow on trees. They don't grow on trees. So Abby Martin is one to keep an eye on for this year. And could be a trainer at the Swans. I will be shocked if she's not at the Swans AFLW side. They've got a plethora of star young key defenders in Brenna, Taryn, BT, and Ella Heads names that just come to mind. And the final two is Holly Britton, the sister of Jade Britton, who's at the Eagles, and Georgia Haynes from Peel Thunder in the WAFLW. They're both in their drafting this year. Georgia, I know, will be playing for the WA State Championship. I'll be shocked if Holly isn't as well. Two names, regardless if they're not in the Championship or not. They're two names to keep an eye out for from Peel Thunder. There'll definitely be names to keep an eye out on for. So there's the names on the screen there to wrap things up here. They're the experienced players or players that are playing in the state leagues right now that I feel like should be getting a look on at clubland at AFLW level. Thank you all for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this type of content. Please like, share, subscribe. Send this out to everyone. Tag the players involved. Send it out to them. Give some feedback if you want. Who are some draft power ranks that you have for this year? But really thank you all for watching this. Until the next video, take care. And the most important thing of all to remember is go the Saints. And, of course, acknowledge me, the one. And, of course, the AFLW show will return when the season comes around the round one stage. Thank you all. Go Saints.